Welcome back. You're still watching S8 Today. Now, having to deal with damage caused by floods and rolling power cuts is likely to be quite frustrating. Floods can cause a number of risks on the road, at home and also at work. Now, during these times, insurance companies are inundated with calls for claims from their customers. To get some insights, we're now joined in studio by Sekgobola Thobakgale, who's a short-term insurance specialist. Thanks so much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's good to be with you.
All right, so there's a couple of areas I want us to look at. Yes. We'll start with the individuals, but I think also companies need short-term insurance, don't they, during this time. But let's start with the individuals.
Yes.
What should we be thinking about? Because it looks like power cuts are a thing that we're going to have to live with going forward. Climate change is seeing a lot of flooding happening now. So perhaps the insurance cover that we had and we have might not be adequate. What should we be thinking about as individuals?
When it comes to power surge and dips, it works the same for both individuals as well as businesses. Continuous risk management is very, very important. For the individuals, once you have your power surge mechanisms that you can plug it in, very easy. You get it from Macro or any.
These are the special plugs now that you can buy.
Yes, there's a special plug that you can buy, from a warehouse or rather a hardware store, which you can plug in, which allows your electronics to be able to regulate the type of or the amount of power that comes through your system as the power comes back. Yes, and similarly it works in businesses where you have your CPU units, which makes sure that when the power comes back, it doesn't shock the electronics within the business, but it allows them to quickly gradually start working again.
All right, so what are we saying? That your insurance provider will ask you, please put these things into your homes and into your businesses. If you don't, are you still covered?
There's two types of so it's what consumers should be very, very careful of is to during times like this, especially during times of load shedding and things like this, and even floods, because electricity trips and things like that, is to check your policy schedule, check with your insurer, check with your broker, where this type of things can happen. Clients always have cover, but the difference is the type of cover that you have. Some insurance companies will give you like 15,000 rands, so they'll have a cap if you don't have this power surge mechanisms. Some insurance companies will give you full cover. However, should you have more of these things, then insurance companies will then impose excesses or increase the requirements that they need you to mitigate the type of.
So having this equipment could actually even bring down your premiums.
Of course. Yes.
All right. So you're out on the roads.
Yes.
There's flooding.
Yes.
And we've seen cars literally being swept away. Some would call that an act of God. How is there cover for that? Are you covered when that happens?
When you're comprehensively covered, you will be covered for floods. But if you have limited cover, your limited cover will cover you only for third-party fire and theft. It will not cover you for floods damages. If you have only liability to other parties, then you're not covered for any damages that happen to your vehicle. So it is important for people to be cognizant of the type of cover that they have. Be aware. What sort of cover do you have? Not only be excited by the lower premium that they are paying, but rather to always check, is it comprehensive? If it's not comprehensive, then you must know that you are self-insured for floods and those type of acts of nature.
So talking to
damages.
To your financial person really is an important conversation to have.
It is.
And
yes.
also to make sure that the value of cover for your vehicle is up to date.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you adequately insured? Is this vehicle that you're driving a financed vehicle? Because you might find yourself in a situation whereby you're paying for a car, but which has been scrapped due to the flood damages that have occurred. We've seen situation in Centurion, cars being actually floating in the water, and if that car is not comprehensively covered, unfortunately, that particular person is self-insured for that flood damage.
And then, sometimes you start getting leaks in the house because of heavy rains and so on and so forth. it should be covered in your house homeowner's insurance, but I guess you've got to check all of those things specifically.
Yes, you need to. And there's two types of insurance that we need to look at when we talk about flood that will affect your non-motor risks. Because you have contents cover, which covers your furniture should there be a leak on the roof, if your furniture gets damaged. But primarily we need to look at the building insurance. Right. And risk management is also very, very important there. You need to check before the rainy season, you need to go up on the roof or get a maintenance guy to come and look at your roof. Are there any leaks there? Are your gutters full of leaves, or are they clean? Because the more water is in your gutters, the more damage that you can have on your roof. The wood that is carrying those gutters and the fisher boards also can get damaged if the gutters are leaking or the fisher boards are not properly maintained.
What about businesses? I would imagine that there's interruptions that happen. Can you get insurance to cover business interruptions caused by power outages?
Of course, yes. After every claim that is deemed to be a valid claim that an insurer will be paying for, if you have business interruption. So the difference with personal insurance and commercial insurance is that you need to buy up all these things if you feel you need them, and you can have that discussion with your insurer if you're buying directly, or if you're buying through a broker, you must have that conversation with your broker. But the most important thing when it comes to commercial insurance is to always actually, if you're not able to afford to employ a fire specialist, you might need to, on a continuous basis, just check, those type of things.
And I would imagine also, because you're starting to see people putting in inverters and generators, you should have a conversation with your insurer as well, because changing the nature of your home and your business without telling them can have ramifications.
Of course, especially on the commercial side of things, because like I said, you have to buy almost everything. It's like when you're dressing up, you have to remember that I'm putting on a shirt, so I need this type of cover for a shirt. Glass is not automatically covered, unlike in the personal insurance where when you cover your house, your windows are covered already. But in the business side of things, your windows are not covered, and so is electronic equipment if you buy a generator and things like that.
All right, so bottom line, have a chat with your financial advisor and talk through the risks and make sure you've got adequate cover.
Yes.
Great. We're going to leave it there. Sekgobola, thanks so much indeed for joining us and sharing your insights with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.